Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Experience Boston student panel. We're really happy that you have come to join us today to hear from our current students about their experiences here at Suffolk. First, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Stephanie Morin, and I am a very proud Suffolk alum, and I currently am the Assistant Director of Enrollment Visitor Services. I'm really excited to have some of our current students here to share a little bit about their experiences. So let me pass it over to Jocelyn, and you can start by introducing yourself.
Thank you, Stephanie. Everyone, my name is Jocelyn. My pronouns are she, her, ella for Spanish. I am currently a fourth year here at Suffolk University, majoring in bio with a concentration in health careers and a minor in women and gender studies. Some of my involvement here on campus is that I am a trustee ambassador, but along with that, I am also part of the executive board for Unidad, which is a cultural club here on campus, and our health careers club, which is a club, kind of like a professional development club on campus. And my hometown is Worcester, Massachusetts.
Awesome. Hi, my name's Logan. My hometown is Saco, Maine. I am a senior this year. My major is political science with a concentration in law and public policy. I have two minors as well too, one in foundational art studies and the other one in environmental studies. And some on-campus involvement that I have. I've been part of the Suffolk Photography Club now for 4 years. I've also been part of our Student Government Association here at Suffolk. I'm currently serving as a senator for my class, and I'm a chairman of the PR committee. I've been doing that for about 3 years. Besides having this trustee ambassador job where I give tours and help out prospective students, I've also worked for the residence life department with a work study job for the last 4 years, bouncing around the different residence halls. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Hello everyone, my name is Lindsay. I am a junior here at Suffolk University. I am from Dorchester, which is not too far from downtown. My major is political science with a concentration in law and public policy. I also have a minor in Black studies. Some involvement that I do here on campus, as well as being a trustee ambassador. I am the president of the Black Student Union, the treasurer for the Caribbean Student Network, and I also host a job on campus through work study position as well. I am also a resident assistant for first years, so I love, love, love my involvement on campus.
Awesome. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. For those of you who are watching, you can see, not only being seniors and juniors here at Suffolk, all of you have had really great experiences here at Suffolk, and really excited to jump right into our session today. For those of you watching, I hope you found something about wide diversity in terms of involvement here on campus, which is even more so beyond just what Jocelyn, Logan, and Lindsay are involved with too. But first, I'd like to talk a little bit about our location here at Suffolk University, being right in the heart of downtown Boston. We really are at the true center of the city, and although it can be a little intimidating for some people who may be not used to the city, it's a really great community here at Suffolk. So Logan, coming to Boston can be a big change, as I mentioned, for a lot of incoming students, much like yourself coming from Maine. Can you tell us a little bit more about where Suffolk is and what it's like to navigate campus?
Yeah, definitely. So, like you said, Stephanie, I'm from Maine originally. I kind of grew up in the woods. So, coming to Boston and being more of in a big city environment was definitely a big change for me, but it was super exciting to be in. Suffolk University is kind of situated right in the center of downtown Boston, right around Beacon Hill, right where, you'll find the Massachusetts State House, the Boston Commons, and the Garden. We are about a 15-minute radius in total from one end of our campus to another, but our average walking time here from building to building is going to be about like 5 to 7 minutes usually. It does feel, like a spread out campus on this map, but when you're in person, it feels so much closer. We really do have a sense of community, even if we're that hybrid model, I think it makes us a really unique campus. But we are really close, we're about a 5-minute End. We're right on Beacon Hill, about a 10-minute walk from Chinatown, the theater district, financial district, and Back Bay as well too. If you're a poli-sci or government major like I am, you're definitely interested in the Massachusetts State House, which is located right next to a lot of our buildings here on campus. Boston City Hall is right behind us as well too. The old State House, the historic State House, is right across from one of our newest residence halls, 1 Court Street. As well as too, there's just a ton of food options in all of the various restaurants around our campus. You have Downtown Crossing, which is a huge shopping center located right next to the Boston Commons and right next to some of our residence halls as well too. Also like the AMC movie theater as well, which is one of my favorite spots. But yeah, we're right in the middle of downtown Boston. It may look really big, but it is pretty close. My freshman and sophomore year, I was really lucky to be able to live in Smith Hall, which is a building that is located right across from the Boston Commons. Such an incredible experience for myself, just being able to, not only study in downtown Boston, but actually live there too. It was kind of incredible. Now that I live off campus, I definitely miss it, but I love the experience.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of really fun things to do in the city. I think AMC Boston movie theater was definitely my top place to go during my time here at Suffolk too. But Logan, you touched upon getting around the city, and maybe Lindsay, you can expand a little bit more. Even though Boston may seem really big, how easy is it to get around campus, and what is accessible around us for students to really get to explore the city?
Yeah, kind of like how Logan mentioned, Boston is super accessible. Our location is very unique in that we are right next to so many different train stations that connect to each other, but also connect to other stations outside of just downtown. For my friends who live in East Boston, like Logan, if you hop on the Blue Line, which is literally a 2-minute walk from campus, you'll be able to reach all the way to Revere. If you are coming in from maybe Lynn, for example, you can hop on the commuter rail and go to North Station, and that's about a 11-minute walk to campus. So there's always opportunity for people to come in from literally everywhere in Massachusetts and still be able to reach the heart of downtown, which is where we're located. Some stations that I have a certain liking for are Downtown Crossing and Park Street, because they're basically the hub of where all public transit happens. You can get on the red line, the orange line from there, the green line. I love going to Red Sox games, so I found myself on the green line a lot during the semester. But there's also opportunities for people who, if they're just commuters, to buy a discounted bus pass or zone pass from the Student Leadership and Involvement Office here at Suffolk. And it is very, very great for people who are coming in, let's say, from Haverhill or Worcester even. So the accessibility is really amazing. One thing that is really great is that you never have to walk 15 minutes to the nearest station. And even if, let's say, you don't want to do that 5-minute walk to Downtown Crossing, you can always get on and Bowdoin or station to get on the orange line. So literally, accessibility is what downtown Boston is all about and what Suffolk is all about.
Yeah, it's really great that we have, 3 major stations right on campus, basically. And, Lindsay touched upon, maybe not doing that 5-minute walk. And sometimes in the winter time, with harsh New England winter, sometimes taking the T is a really great option just to go from destination to destination, even here in the city. Jocelyn, we've touched upon a little bit about that transition coming here to Boston. And although from the Worcester area, there may be some nervousness or anxiousness that comes along with coming to the city. So what's something that you experienced that you were a little bit nervous about, and how were you able to adjust and learn to being in the city of Boston?
course. So as mentioned, I come from Worcester. Worcester is a city, but I like to say it's a much smaller city. And we don't really have that much of public transportation. So my whole nervousness was coming from a kind of like slow paced city to a very fast paced city. I think I tried, since I did live in Smith Hall, which is our residence hall that's right across the Boston Common, I did try to avoid the T as much as I could. I tried to avoid all the subway lines because I was like, do I really need the stress in my life right now? I do not. So I would actually walk places. My max walking limit was 30 minutes because you get to like walk around and get to explore the city. You get to go to nearby shops, not only in downtown Crossing, but also like Newberry Street and Boylston Street, where the Boston Public Library is. Newberry Street has like a bunch of like stores. And if you keep on walking for like another 35 minutes, you'll hit Prudential Center too, which has my favorite Starbucks inside of it. But after a point, I realized, I got to get over that fear of like not using the public transportation. So me and my roommates, we went on an adventure. We took the Green Line, which, as Lindsay was mentioning, is the one that takes you on over to Fenway area. You see, we got lost, but through getting lost, that's kind of how you learn how to get around the city. And now I like to say I'm a pro. I mean, it did take 4 years, but I know how to get from East Boston to campus and from East Boston anywhere else I need to go in the city. But along with that, I was also very, very nervous about going home. I'm a very much a family-oriented person. So being away from home was something very difficult for me to grasp on during my first year. But being, at the Smith Hall, it was literally a 10-minute walk to North Station. And from there, it was just like I get on the line from Boston to Worcester, and in like an hour and 30 minutes, I was back home, which I was very, very happy about. And my roommates still kind of come at me for this today, but they were like, you would go home like every weekend. And I was like, yes, because it was easy to go home and I would do it again if I need to. So definitely being nervous about being in a fast-paced city, it's kind of really organic. You kind of go with the flow. It's very funny when it's like very busy, how everybody just knows where they're going. Sometimes I still get caught up where I'm like, wait, hold up, give me a second, where am I going? But then you're just like, you just follow where the people are going. Everybody knows what they're doing, where they're going, where you got to be, what you got to do. So feeling much better these days.
Yeah, I mean, as you go through your Suffolk experience, you kind of get a hold of, some of the things you may initially be nervous about. And, as Logan mentioned, coming from Maine, it's a little bit further away, and there's still a really large sense of community here at Suffolk, so that if you don't live close by, there are a lot of things that you can take advantage of in the city, or just spend time with friends here on campus, which we'll talk a little bit later in our panel today. But Jocelyn, you hit upon a number of things that even you like to do throughout your week or even during your time here at Suffolk. Making that transition from high school, a really big difference is your daily schedule, right? Looks a little bit different, having a little bit more of a structure back in high school, where in college you have your classes and assignments, but you kind of build up your days as need be. So can you walk us what the typical day looks like for you, and maybe touch upon like how you've been able to develop some time management skills to help support you making that transition into college?
Yeah, of course. I remember during my first year, I tried my best to avoid 8 a.m. courses. Unfortunately, somehow, some way, that never throughout all my semesters here, I've had an 8 a.m. But I realized that even though it's a struggle to get up at that early of a time, I really do like it because I get to take more advantage of my time. And even though I have to be maybe in a class at 8 a.m., maybe my next class isn't till 12. Or it's not till like 11. So I have a really good buffer time in between where I can go get breakfast if I like. I can go meet with other classmates, other friends, get some homework done, kind of have like a good period in between. That's definitely something that I like a lot from kind of like structuring your own schedules, because you can structure your own kind of like breaks in between. So I always make sure that throughout the semesters, I do have like a good buffer time within my class times which is very, very easy to actually accommodate for. So most of my mornings will begin at 8 a.m. and maybe I won't get back home till 6 p.m., but that's because I either have a lab that I have to get to, or there's something fun going on campus. Literally, my labs end like around 4:40, sometimes 5. And then there's like a fun event at like 6 or 7. So all my friends will just like get together, wait, probably get like a quick bite somewhere, and then come back onto campus to do something fun. I like to say I like to be more within English is difficult today, within campus, and kind of take advantage of like getting those networking skills and kind of meeting more people on campus. Even though I've been here for 4 years, I always meet someone new, which is really awesome. So that's kind of my typical day. We have meals in between there. Sometimes we don't, but that's okay. That's when time management comes in. It's definitely about getting that. It's about meal prepping, getting that lunch packed, getting that lunch in your backpack for the next day. Also, I do have a rabbit at home, so early in the morning I get to feed him. And then like at nighttime when I come back, he is the only rabbit in our apartment. So my roommates, I like to say he's a spoiled child. So when I get home, like my roommates already like have him out of the cage, like he's properly fed, and like they're like, here you go, you're fine, you get to relax, we have your child for you. But definitely it can get very hectic very quickly. So it's always always know that you can have that communication either with our Center for Learning Academic Success to learn more about those kind of time management skills. I know I spoke a lot with them, but also if you ever feel like you're getting caught up with assignments or you need extra time, always definitely speak to your professors. I know that I can always 100% go up to my professors and be like, hey, I don't know if it's possible, but can I get an extra like day or two on this? Like just explain your situation to them, and they're more than likely to kind of assist with that. But that's kind of a long spiel of like being like, I do have a full Monday through Friday, but I always find how to have fun in between that. I always find how to like take breaks in between that and take care of myself and my mental health, because that's very important.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Jocelyn. You know, every student kind of has their unique schedule, right, that they follow by. And even though you seem like you've had kind of a packed week during your scheduling, having those student support services through our Student of Division Success is a really great resource for, you know, students who are here at Suffolk to really get that support, even if you are anticipating a busy week ahead and just need some help figuring out how to plan that out and finish your assignments and also still have time for yourself too. But as I mentioned, each student has a little bit of a unique schedule. So Lindsay, why don't you share a little bit about what your typical day looks like?
Of course. So I don't wake up as early as Jocelyn does. However, I do usually start my day around 8 a.m. when you are in class, Jocelyn. And what that usually looks like is just my morning routine of hygiene and breakfast. And then I get myself ready for the day. Usually I have either a work shift or I just like to go to the library at 9 in the morning just to get my head in the game and get started on what my day is going to look like in terms of productivity. So usually what that looks like is 9 a.m. I'm here at the Welcome Center working as a trustee ambassador, or I'm in the library reading a book, getting started on my assignment that's due either the next day or the next week. I like to get ahead. And then I usually head over to grab some lunch with some of my friends at the 73 Cafe because I love the sandwiches. And then right before then, I take about 15 minutes of a breather buffer time right before my next class, my first class, which usually starts at 2 o'clock. And then right after that class, I'm feeling a little amped up, a little ready for the rest of the day. So I usually head back over to Sawyer, where all my friends are usually hanging out. And that's where a lot of the student life is at Suffolk University, because that's where a lot of the program organizations and clubs usually are. So I see all of my friends there and we're hanging out for about a few hours before our next class. During that time, I get some homework done. I work on some of my projects, or I'll FaceTime my mom because I usually miss her. And then my next class probably starts around 5 o'clock or so. And I head back over to 73, grab a snack, and then head up the elevator interest to my next class. What I really appreciate about having a college schedule is that it gives you the opportunity and the freedom to build your own life and your own routine rather than going by a structured class, lunch, class, dismissal. It gives you a lot of opportunity to explore on your own. So within those 3 hours that I usually have between one class and another class, if it's a really nice day out, instead of going to Sawyer, I'll go to the Boston Commons, I'll go to the public gardens, maybe watch people go by as they're like being so mesmerized by Boston. And I'm like, yeah, I get to see this every day. But going back to my schedule, after class, my last class, I head back to Sawyer again to finish up any of my assignments before I head home, back to one of the dormitories that I live at because I am a resident assistant this year. And from there, I just unwind for the day, get myself prepared for the next morning, do some laundry if I need to, get my clothes ready for the next day. And I watch a few shows on Netflix, I'm not gonna lie, and then I head to bed.
You sound like you have like the perfect like work-life balance when it comes to your academics. I love that you include some personal time, whether it's, connecting with your mom over FaceTime or just getting some fresh air, right outside our doors to be in the Commons. And it sounds like, between both of you, that time management really helps in having that flexibility here at Suffolk and in your college career. It's taking time for the important personal items as well as it is for like your academics or responsibilities with work too. So thank you both for sharing a little bit about your days. You both also touched upon a little bit about your academic experience and taking advantage of Boston too. So here at Suffolk, we really want to have an experiential classroom experience for students, really taking advantage of the city and what it has to offer for its resources. And a lot of our professors do take advantage of our surroundings to really enhance the classroom experience. So Logan, can you tell us a little bit about an experience where a professor has taken the advantage of the city to really enhance your learning experience or a certain assignment that you have in class?
Yeah, definitely. I'd start off with my freshman year because it's one of my favorite experiences I've had here at Suffolk. I'd highly recommend, if you do come to Suffolk, taking honors Creating America or Creating America with Robert Allison. He is part of our history department here, and he is so knowledgeable on Boston history. And he's really engaging about it too. My freshman year, that was literally my first semester. It was an 8 a.m. too. And it was probably the most fun 8 a.m. I've ever had, quite honestly. We did a lot of in-class work, of course, but he took us on a lot of field trips around the immediate area around campus, as well as like going into the North End. We saw different historic sites, like the graveyards that are right next to the 73 building, the ones that have Benjamin Franklin's parents buried in it, among with a bunch of other founding fathers as well too. He took us over to like City Hall, like Copp's Hill graveyard in the North End. And during that, it was like me and my entire class, and he'd just be telling us these amazing stories about history that none of us really knew. Really helped with the getting me acclimated to Boston, really made me feel like part of the history of the city. I'd also like to mention too, after his class was over, he emailed me and he was like, Logan, do you want to be part of a Revolutionary War reenactment? Because my freshman year, 2018, that was the 250th anniversary of the British invading Boston and then camping out on the Boston Commons. So I got to participate in a live reenactment. I wasn't actually an actor in it, but I was a volunteer. And I was kind of helping lead around these British troops as they came into Boston Harbor on a wooden sailboat, which was kind of crazy. And then they marched like all through our streets and then ended up camping out on the Boston Commons for an entire week. And like it was spring at that point, but it was still pretty cold out. But that was a really cool experience that I got through one of my freshman professors, and honestly, like that really made my first year experience for me. A more recent one this year, I've had experiences in my my course public policy and law class. I have this professor, his name is Dr. Iltrino. He is a Suffolk professor, of course, but he is also a legislator in the Massachusetts State House, and he's representing the Malden, the city of Malden. He invited his policy writer that works on his team in the State House, who is also a Suffolk alum, to come and talk to us about legislation that Dr. Iltrino was sponsoring through the Massachusetts State House, and maybe hopefully will pass at some point someday. But it was the RAISE Act, which is a bill that is intending to end hair discrimination within the United States, or the Crown Act, excuse me, or within Massachusetts. But that was a really cool experience. Dr. Iltrino, he's a professor at Suffolk, but he also has a lot of that real world experience working right next to us in the State House. And yeah, that really definitely made my poli-sci experience for me.
I think it's so cool, your transition from getting to experience the history of Boston right in downtown through Professor Bob Allison during your freshman year, and now you're really getting hands-on experience and hearing from professionals in the field. This year it's really just speaks to the widespread resources and connections that are not only available to us in the classroom, but also beyond the classroom too, and kind of transitioning a little bit into professional development. Logan, you mentioned how a Suffolk alum right here in the city coming to your class talk to you about your act that you're looking to pass through the state of Massachusetts. Again, I think it's really important to touch upon being able to have access to those resources here. Here at Suffolk, although not all majors are required to take an internship for their major requirements, it is certainly highly encouraged because of our central downtown location and the resources we have available. So Lindsay, with that, can you talk a little bit more about what those resources are, how they're available, how are they there to support students looking for that professional development opportunity?
Absolutely. Logan kind of touched upon this a little bit. Your professors are the most direct line of communication for opportunities. Even if it might be something that you're mildly interested in or something that you're extremely passionate about, going to your professors, even if they may not have an opportunity for you themselves, they always know somebody who does. My first year writing professor, I wasn't interested in being an English major, but I did want to know more about education and how to become a teaching assistant or just getting my foot in the door in terms of education related fields. And so I asked him if he knew anybody just off whim, and he gave me a bunch of resources, some of which were actually Suffolk alums. And I got connected to the CAAO office here at Suffolk, which is the Center for Academic Advancement and Success, Opportunity. And I was able to TA over the summer, this past summer, and throughout the year last year with Upward Bound, which is a program that helps high school seniors and juniors get ready for college, essentially. And I loved that experience. And that was all through one professor. I do know some people, like my friends and others, who might not want to go through the route of asking your professor, and that's totally, totally okay. There's an opportunity for you to schedule an appointment with the Center for Career Diversity, Equity, and Success Suffolk, and that's kind of shorthanded. We call it the Career Center, and provide numerous opportunities for networking through career opportunities, building your profile, networking with alumni, or even receiving mentorship from alumni from Suffolk, which is through the RAMP program or the Alumni Mentor Program. Excuse me. There's opportunities for professional experience. We also have a kind of LinkedIn, which is called Handshake. That is a kind of like a job application. So you just get your resume and your cover letter, all of which the Career Center can help you with. And employers will read through your profile, see what you're interested in, and they'll send you a message. Hey, Logan, I think you're perfect for this opportunity. Please apply. We'd love to have you. If you'd like to speak more about this opportunity, here's where you can reach me. So there's always opportunity every single place, whether you're a professor or through the career. Just a personal experience with the career. This year, I applied to find a mentor through the with an alum in the field that you're interested in. And what they usually do is they walk you through what that process looks like, as well as what an average day in a certain field might look like. So I'm really excited for that, and I always tell my friends, hey, check it out. I think it'll be amazing for you.
Lindsay, you touched upon some really excellent points of the multitudes of ways that students can really take advantage of professional development, even if it's just jump-starting by connecting with an alumni who's in the field of interest and through our RAMP program, which I think is a really unique experience for Suffolk students to even have kind of like that beginning stages of the networking process. Jocelyn, you've also had some really great opportunities to take advantage of professional development here at Suffolk and really have gained some invaluable experience in the field that you're looking to go into. Can you talk a little bit more about what that experience was and how are you able to find this opportunity?
Of course. Well, this summer was a very heavy summer for me in which I was running actually 2 internships. I was running an internship with the University of Antwerp, which is in Belgium, in which I was able to work with the female microbiome. And here at Suffolk, I was actually running an internship with my mentor who teaches at the graduate school about understanding more of like the healthcare experience of young women. And I still can't believe I'm currently still working on both of them. The work is coming together and I'm very, very proud of it. But I still can't believe this happened and nor that I had this amazing opportunity to do so. Literally at the beginning of the summer, it was my kind of end of my junior year. I knew that this summer had to be like super important and super involved. But with everything that was occurring, a lot of other institutions were kind of going back to past applicants or kind of prioritizing seniors. So recent grad. So I remember just one day, it was probably 2 a.m. I am not even kidding. I emailed my academic advisor. His name is Dr. O'Shea. He gets most of my tears when like, you know, career-wise, we ain't going how we want to go. And I just emailed him and I was like, hey, like, just to let you know, I'm actively looking for internships. Like, I'm trying my best, applying to a lot, but unfortunately haven't been getting those yeses just yet or those acceptances. I think he told me, give me like 48 hours, I'll see what I can do. He actually gave me an opportunity to apply for the NSER program. Not only did he send me like the link to the application, but like right connected in that email was also my letter of recommendation. He was like, here you go for it. They asked me to be a mentor. Currently, I can't, but you would be perfect for a mentee. Here's your letter of recommendation. Let's see what happens. I applied. I heard back within a month that I had gotten accepted, and I still couldn't believe it because I never actually thought my whole life I wanted to work in women's health, but I wanted to work as a physician. I just don't know why it never clicked that I could also do that behind the doors, like through bio and through being in the lab. So with this internship, I also got an aspect of being how I could assist women's health within our lab time and kind of like behind the scenes. And then from that, I was like, oh my God, I think that now I want to do grad school and continue my project on to like research. And kind of with that, I also am now able to work with also the McNair office, which is under the CAO office, in which now they're assisting me with applying to grad school. So it kind of really shows how Suffolk has really given me all the to get where I need to be and giving me all those experiences, but now also giving me that support to go on in my career, which is really amazing and I'm grateful for.
Yeah, I think it's such a great, evolution that you've had through your professional experience to be able to be exposed to things that you were really passionate about that not only tied into some of the classes you were currently taking and then practicing what that looks like in kind of a real world experience and being able to have the opportunity to reflect and say like, hey, I think graduate school is the next step for me. what resources can I utilize to really assist me and support me in those next steps. So thank you so much for sharing a little bit about that too. We've all touched upon a little bit about professional development, and both Lindsay and Jocelyn have had their own experiences here in downtown Boston or through their internship opportunities. But really being at the heart of it all, you have so many locations and resources that are easy, subway, train to ride away, or even just walking distance. So Logan, can you touch upon where there are other opportunities to find internships for students who, for our wide diversity of academics we offer here at Suffolk?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, being in downtown Boston, we have a lot of opportunities, especially just right in walking distance around us. For a lot of business majors, the financial district, which is actually where our One Court Street Residence Hall is located in. That is where you can find a lot of major Fortune 500 companies. It is about a 5 to 10 minute walk from most of our campus buildings. But we also do have a lot of leading hospitals around Boston as well too. Boston is a big biomedical, concentration in the world. So you'll have, Massachusetts General Hospital, which is actually located maybe like a 5-minute walk from our campus, one T-stop ride, but we also do have like the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, Beth Israel, as well as the Boston Children's Hospital. Those other hospitals are more of a 10 to 20-minute T-ride, usually down on the Green Line. We also do have, if you're a poli-sci major like Lindsay and I are, the Massachusetts State House is right next to our campus, which is really awesome. It is an amazing opportunity. We see a lot of students end up getting like internships for like paging representatives, both in the House and the Senate, as well as news channel studios as well too. Channel 7 News, Boston's News, is actually located right by Government Center. So again, about a 5-minute walk from our campus. One of my friends actually, Hunter Berube, he was able to take up an internship at Channel 7 News about 2 semesters ago now. And he's actually a student reporter now on NECN, which is the NECN, which is the New England Cable News Network, through our Suffolk 73 studio, which is a full-service television studio located right in our 73 building. He is now working on the segment The Suffolk in the City, which is a whole program on NECN where Suffolk students are able to kind of bring out their own news package on topics they're interested in and present it to a national audience, which is something that I find super cool. But yeah, that's a little bit about internships.
Yeah, you've touched upon, the many opportunities that are, just steps away from campus. And it's really great that between you and Jocelyn having found opportunities right on campus to really improve upon your professional development or gain that experience is really cool. Even beyond that, as an alumni from the art and design program, or even for the performing arts, you have access to firms in the theater district just within a 10-minute walk of campus. So it makes it really easy or really manageable for students to partake in that professional development through an internship. Schedule it just like a class so that you're able to manage it in your schedule just like you normally would. I know we've touched a lot upon academics and professional development, but really fun part about college is really pursuing your passions outside of the classroom too, and that means getting involved with clubs and organizations, which all 3 of you are greatly involved on campus. But can you, Lindsay, can you touch a little bit upon on how being involved on campus in many different ways, or even off campus, has really affected your experience being in Boston and being able to partake in those clubs and organizations?
Yeah, absolutely. Boston is so historic and filled with things to do. And usually a lot of people get overwhelmed with how much there is to do in Boston. So being at Suffolk and having a smaller community to do things within is a great opportunity to get my foot in the door for other things that being here so far. I learned my freshman year that Suffolk hosts a biannual concert for students hosted by the Student Government Association. And my freshman year, we were able to Tory Lanez, but I heard 2 years before I got there, they had Malone. a little jealous, but that's fine. Some other things that are really great because Boston gets so cold is that we have ice skating tickets available for students as well, which are like $5 for the Frog Pond at the Boston Commons. There's apple picking, discounted sports tickets. All of that is usually located through the Student Leadership and Involvement Office, which I fortunately have the pleasure of working at as well. And it's really just a hub for students to meet other students that are interested in those things that they are also interested in, and they're able to go as a group and make new friends through that way as well. But outside of just having like regular fun things to do, there are also leadership opportunities for student leaders who love to help and support their peers. One thing that is really, really cool that we have here is the Journey Leadership Program. And they help us refine and enhance our leadership skills through conferences, team bonding experiences, leadership workshops, and sometimes even fun things like sailing or weekly Wednesday donuts and conversation. So there's always opportunities to be involved, even if you're somebody who likes to either be a leader in the actual like workspace sense or a leader in fun.
Lindsay, I love that you touched upon so many opportunities that students can get involved with, including yourself. You know, the Suffolk concerts are always a lot of fun, especially at the beginning of the year, or being able to have the opportunities to gain leadership skills through a fun activity like you mentioned, the sailing, and also who doesn't enjoy free food? So donuts sound delicious every week. But, you know, certainly beyond that too, through involvement in clubs, Suffolk has so many opportunities to gain fun that are more hands-on experience too. And Jocelyn, can you touch upon a little bit about how Suffolk supports students getting involved in the city of Boston as well?
Yeah, of course. One thing that I really like is that our professors will take advantage of the city. Over spring semester, last semester, I took biology of whales. And if y'all know, we have the New England Aquarium right next to us, and right there is Seaport area. So actually, my professor took us on a whale watch this semester. So there's always like fun ways to like enhance your experience like that. There's also one of like the early like first year classes that I'm actually going to take next semester as my fun class, that is like called Nasty Gals. So you learn about witches and like how women were portrayed back in the day. So part of that event is that we actually get to go to the Witch Museum in Salem. So it definitely is that our professors come through and work kind of their course material to fit something that we could do fun later on in the semester, and we can take like that fun field trip and stuff like that. But my favorite thing, as Lindsay had mentioned, is we have discounted sporting events. We have discounted theater events. My year, we got so lucky. Hamilton was playing at the Boston Opera House. That is literally like 2 minutes away from our 10 West hall, residence hall. And we got to see Hamilton for $20. And I still can't, like, that's still one of the best things that I could ever say I have been able to do at Suffolk. And, you know, Post Malone is still grateful that we were one of the first schools to ever have it in Boston, that he had also given us discounted tickets. So we got $50 box tickets to see Post Malone during my sophomore year. So definitely it's a lot of hands-on experience, and we take advantage of, we understand we're in a city that has a lot of fun. So we want to make sure, Suffolk makes sure that we are also getting involved in that fun and like taking that time to relax, be with friends, meet more people who are interested in what you're interested in or have the same music interest as you or studying something similar to you. So yeah.
Yeah, like you said, being right in downtown Boston, there is so much to take advantage of, and it's really great that Suffolk has those opportunities for students to take advantage of the events that are going on, you know, just a couple minutes down the street from us, or even right on campus too. And even beyond that, getting involved on campus, you know, there's a little bit of something for everyone. With over 100 different clubs and organizations, students have the opportunity to take advantage of getting involved. And we also have activities period on Tuesdays and Thursdays, in which there are no classes held for a duration of time, just so you all can get involved on campus. And again, it makes it really manageable for students to have fun, as well as to really take advantage of the city through passions outside of the classroom too. But speaking a little bit about leisure, there are a lot of great places that we already talked about here around Boston. But Logan, what are some of your top 3 places that you like to hang out in the city of Boston?
Yeah, well, I like to be outdoors as much as possible when I'm not in classes. So definitely when I was living on campus my freshman and sophomore year, the Boston Garden was a place that I went to constantly, either just to hang out and just soak up the sun or maybe to get some homework done. Another place, definitely, Boston has a lot of blue bikes, which are bikes that you can rent out very easily. They're in place, they're literally all over at this point. There's a whole rack right in front of Smith Hall where I lived. So I'd usually just like rent one out and bike down to the Esplanade, which is right on the Charles River. Beautiful little area, and it has a whole bike path as well too. And now that I live off campus, I still love biking. I have the East Boston Bike Trail, which actually starts right by where I live up at Orient Heights, and goes all the way down right to the harbor at the Maverick T-stop. So I go down there a lot during the summer. I would rent out a blue bike, take that whole path. But it's a really beautiful spot. We're really lucky in Boston having so many like nature areas, and I'm really thankful for the experience.
I would have to agree. I love all the green spaces that are here in Boston. We talked a lot about Boston Common. You mentioned the Esplanade. There's so many more just around the city to really explore if you need to be one with nature during those times, or even just need a break from, midterms, finals, exams. Good to still have that green space to do so. I think a really fun topic that our current students are always talking about is food. And being right in the heart of downtown Boston, there are plenty of places to explore for local eateries and things like that. So Jocelyn, do you want to touch upon what your favorite spot is to eat off campus?
Food. I love food, especially being in Boston is definitely taking advantage of like Chinatown, the North End, and kind of like exploring new cultures through your food palette is really amazing. One of my roommates is very involved in getting and tasting new Asian cuisine. So one of my favorite places that she brought me to our first year is called Crave Mad for Chicken. It is a Korean cuisine place, and their spicy chicken wings are the best ones I've ever tried. Because it's Korean, it's like a Korean spicy chicken wing. But my favorite thing about it too is that it's right across Kung Fu Tea, which is bubble tea. And I also love bubble tea. So it's like the perfect combination of like two things that I love. And it's only 7 minutes, it's like a 7-minute walk from our Smith Hall, maybe 10 to 12 from like our Miller Hall. So it's definitely like something good to go grab a quick bite, and their lunch specials are amazing. It's definitely cheaper on the cheaper side of stuff because college students. But other than that, it's like I get to get my favorite meal, but also my favorite drink. So it's really amazing. Also, all the bubble tea shops that we have around, and we made it. We made like a list with my roommates where we were like, oh, we're going to try all these meanwhile we're here. So it's also like kind of having fun like that, like writing down your cafes, like favorite cafes you want to try or stuff around the city of any new foods you want to try. But definitely Crave Mad for Chicken is on my list for all time.
Yeah, for any of you who are watching, you can always connect with our current students on our webpage and our Meet Our Students page. So if you need to know some good local eateries, I'm sure they would love to share all of their favorite local places to get their favorite coffee, favorite meal, whatever it may be. Thanks so much for sharing, Jocelyn. And to kind of run out a little bit about our experience here at Suffolk, I'd love for each of you to tell us one thing that you think makes Boston a really unique city to live and to study in. And Logan, why don't you jump off?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, coming from my own background, just being from a smaller town, there is so much to do in Boston, as we've been talking about throughout this presentation. Just the ability to have access to restaurants, shopping, school, all right in downtown Boston, as well as like the parks and stuff, but easily just being able to go down and get on one of the 4 MBTA subway lines and really head out to any part of the city, I think is something that's really incredible, honestly, and really unique to Suffolk University. And honestly, I couldn't have imagined my experience in Suffolk without it. And then again, too, like the community. We're a student population of about 4,500 undergraduate students. It sounds like a lot of people, but we're a pretty tight-knit community here. It is really nice. When I came in my freshman and sophomore year, I didn't know a ton of people right off the bat. I was the only person from my high school coming to Suffolk. But this community has been so welcoming. And just in terms of the events that the different departments here put on, as well as just the student atmosphere, it makes for a situation where I felt very comfortable, putting out my roots in this smaller community. And now that I'm moving towards, I just finished my junior year and now I'm in my senior year, kind of getting ready to switch gears, transition to thinking about, life after college. I definitely feel a lot better about it than I did coming in my freshman year, because I have this root, I have this community that I built here, and I'm more than ready to use it to kind of make that next leap into the rest of Boston. So I couldn't be more happy about this city and the school that I went to.
Oh, sorry. Hello. For me, I would have to say, once again, accessibility. We just have so many great things around us, and our professors know exactly how to connect us to those experiences, how to connect us through our classroom spaces. To do that, there is a class, it's literally just a science class. It's called Cancer Care, where the professor is actually a radiologist who used to work at Mass General Hospital. And the whole point about that class is that it's kind of like a community engagement class in which you work closely with Christopher Haven's house. And you're able to give back to an organization and a nonprofit who supports families of pediatric patients who are currently in their oncology treatment. So it's always like kind of unique experiences you'll have like that, just because we have these world-known hospitals around us where professors learn how to take advantage of that. And as Logan was mentioning, I can't even explain it even more about just community. Like the community you build here is 100% a community that you'll bring on later to your career. And something with me is that I'm able to have those connections with my professors, and my professors have always said, when I'm teaching y'all to be my colleagues. And a lot of them are just like, Jocelyn, once you graduate, like we'll hopefully work on this together, or at some point be in this organization together, or I get to see your presentations and you'll be able to see my presentations. But we'll always have that professional connection, and we'll always make sure that we're going to go out and be colleagues with each other. So I really, really appreciate that and like that. That'd be mine.
Myself, I would say opportunity and the diversity within those opportunities. I know we talked a lot about the location of where we are at the heart of downtown, but everywhere you turn is an office or a firm or a department looking to employ or hire enthusiastic college students to give them the experience and to get their foot in the door. And Suffolk really pushes you to take your classroom, your experience in the classrooms outside of the 4 walls of the classroom. A great example of that would be CCE, which is the Center for Community and Engagement. And they help Suffolk students develop their passions or enhance their passions for volunteering, whether that be within the greater Boston community or nationally or internationally with Habitat for Humanity. There's always opportunities for people to pick up new passions and experience different things. So opportunity is one of the biggest things that we at Suffolk really, really dive into and help other people experience as well. There's things for people to do, whether you are into music, the arts, finance, that you might think of, we will provide, which is so awesome.
Thank you all so much for sharing. I think really kind of wrap up all of what you touched upon, living and learning in downtown Boston because of our location and being able to be at an institution like Suffolk with a small community with the advantage of a larger community of the city of Boston. We're able to develop connections with our peers and professors and staff members that then allow us to really explore beyond our campus doors, gain the hands-on real-world experience that are right outside our doors, right at our fingertips, to really take advantage of those professional opportunities or passions outside of the classroom, or engaging with our community at hand through service. And all of those things just have added, as all of you heard today, to the student experience here at Suffolk. I wanted to firstly thank all of you watching today to learn a little bit more about what it's like living, learning, and working in the Boston area and how that's enhanced the Suffolk University experience to our current students today. And we really hope that you're able to also take advantage of these opportunities as well too. Thank you so much again, and enjoy the rest of your day.